Kanye West has officially dropped the deluxe version to Donda, and this was coming after the Drink Champs interview where he actually confirmed it, and where Def Jam actually tweeted out yesterday night saying, "We present to you the new Donda Deluxe." So there's a lot to go through. There's additions, there's changes, but we're going to be talking about our reaction and review of this new deluxe version because there's a lot of major changes that happened to the track list overall. So Lou, how are you feeling about these, and what could people expect from NFR in the future?
So of course we're always doing the biggest album reviews in the game. We've already reviewed the original version of Donda. We've done Certified Lover Boy, and we'll be keeping you updated with the latest drops of the industry and doing our review to them. Apart from that, we're also doing a lot of Kanye content on the regular. So if you're new here, smash the subscribe button and also hit the like button to help this reach more Kanye fans. So I didn't see this coming at all, man.
I didn't either.
I mean, I thought we were going to get this in 2024, to be honest with you.
8 p.m. Eastern time. What a weird time to drop it. Last time the original album dropped in the morning. So how did that affect your, let's say, listening experience from the original one?
Fucking pleasant surprise, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But let's get into first the changes that were made. I'll list them for you guys, and then we'll get into our thoughts on the new music. So, of course, the first thing you might notice is that the track list order is totally rearranged.
Yes, sir.
You start off with Hurricane instead of Jail, and there's a bunch of different changes. One that kind of bothered me is the fact that Come to Life is so early on the first half of the track list, while on the original Donda, it was in the second half. And I preferred that because Come to Life is kind of the climax, I feel like, to the album. So to have it so early on is not something I'm a fan of. So I do prefer the original track listing. Apart from that, this total version now stands at 32 songs. And the new songs that we have include Life of the Party with André 3000, which...
Thank Lord.
Thank God, man. I mean, we needed this. Arguably the best song of the year. Apart from that, we also have Come to Life, which now features Tyler, the Creator. We'll get more into that later. We also have Up From the Ashes, which was originally supposed to be on Jesus is King. We also have Remote Control Part 2 with Kid Cudi and with that animated character called the Globaglab. I'm not sure what his name is.
That's hilarious.
Also, Never Abandon Your Family, which was, of course, previewed at the first listening party. Keep My Spirit Alive Part 2 is also been added to this track list. And apart from that, there's also a couple of lines that have been cut out. For example, on Believe What I Say, the whole throat goat line is completely out of there. So you will find some more minor changes, but those are the biggest ones. But without further ado, let's get into our thoughts on the music. So, Life of the Party, André 3000.
Yes,
everyone's
sir.
calling this the St. Pablo of Donda. What are your thoughts on it, man?
I think maybe more the No More Parties in LA sort of vibe for me. Like being able to hear Kanye rework his verse too, because I'm not sure if you guys remember, if you did listen to the leaked version that I dropped on OVO Sounds Friday show, Kanye had a much different second verse where he was actually coming at Drake and he was talking about his position in the game. But here, it feels like it's more on like that No More Parties in LA sort of vibe where he's taking a really nice victory lap. And overall, I mean, from the jump, we knew that we needed this on streaming services because one, we knew that it was going to be the best song on Donda, and we knew that it was going to be the best song of the year if it dropped. And Kanye had mentioned that in Drink Champs. So, do you think that this was a necessity when coming to the deluxe version?
As soon as I heard it, I'm like, I fucking need this on streaming platforms.
Yes,
and what André 3000 does here, the poetic purity of it, the authenticity of the verse, to me, it's just like he really poured his heart and soul into it, and you really feel his emotions throughout as he's talking directly to Donda. And that's why it's so essential to the track list, is the fact that it plays into that theme of connecting with the spiritual realm and, speaking to your parents. And he's asking Donda if she's heard or spoken to his own mother. And the way that he gets so deep and personal, reflecting on the relationship that he's had with his parents and also the relationship that his parents had, how they weren't able to make it work out. Like, it literally feels like I'm sitting on my front porch with my best friend having a deep conversation.
Absolutely.
Like, there's not many artists that will, be this raw and genuine with you. And André 3000, he proves once again why he deserves to be in that GOAT conversation. And the flow at the end when he's rapping, for I don't know, but I do know that it's crucial that we do so pronto. I don't know how much long though. Like, that's just a masterful cadence. And it's verse of the year. It's fucking song of the year. And it blew me away.
It did blow me away, especially the way that the chorus was maybe changed too, because Kanye actually brought in Biggie and Diddy for this. This was really cool. So he goes like this: just like Puff told Christopher, we gonna win big. Put the whole family on. Look at what my Kim did.
I love that homage.
Just like Puff told Christopher, we gonna win big. And there's actually some Biggie ad libs in there. So I think the touches were really nice. I think it's better than the original version, and I don't know how they ended up doing that. But overall, would you have preferred the second version the second verse that we got now from Kanye, or the original one that was on the leak? Which one would you have preferred?
It was more ruthless. Kanye was on his cocky energy, saying how he fathered everybody with 808s. I like that aspect of it, but as an overall verse to fit into the album, I'm a bigger fan of this one. Not only that, but it's also because Kanye starts off with Straight from Shibuya on some Zen. I'm ramped up, I'm on 10, which is the first thing, if you remember, that we heard about this Donda rollout when that snippet came out of Kanye and Tyler in the studio. Those were the first words we heard from Kanye. So it already had that nostalgia for me, and I'm like, I need to hear this on the album. Not only that, but the DMX outro with his daughter when they're on the slingshot ride, that is so touching, it's so heartwarming, and it kind of it speaks to that idea of that pure unconditional love that parents have for their children.
That's facts.
It was really
really well put together.
Yeah, I absolutely love it, man.
And I think that overall the improvements have been shown in the overall the song structure, excuse me, because I even believe that there was not a chorus or a hook on the first one, if my memory serves me correct. It was just two verses from Kanye and André 3K, and now like there's at least more of a coherent flow to it, and it sounds like something that's actually polished, as if the first version, like maybe there was some improvements that we would have seen and we actually got them on the deluxe. But let's move on to Come to Life. We obviously have Tyler the Creator added to the pre-chorus on this, and how do you feel about it? It was very minimalistic. It's almost like as if their vocals are layered together. It's not a completely different chorus just with Tyler alone. Like, do you think maybe he was underutilized? Like, how did you feel about the way he was implemented into this new song?
I think it's totally fucking useless. I'll be honest about it. I love the fact that Tyler has gotten on a Kanye album. I'm very happy for him, and I think that he's happy about that. But I mean, the way that their vocals are kind of layered on top of each other, it's cool, but like you can't even pick out the fact that it's Tyler unless
I had a hard time.
You know what I mean? If it was inscribed on Genius or whatever it is, or people talking about it, I wouldn't have known it was Tyler. So it kind of feels like it's unnecessary, but maybe a Tyler bridge or something would have been more welcome. So I like it. It's all right. It just feels useless to me.
And where would have Tyler maybe played in the overall thematic basis of Donda? Like, that's more of like what I'm thinking, because if you look at the feature list and how it's geared up, especially maybe with this new Andre 3K feature, each one plays a certain role or character within the actual development of the storyline within Donda. So how do you think Tyler could have fit in there better? And why do you think they only ended up using him for a pre-chorus and not maybe that bridge that you wanted?
It's interesting. I mean, thematically, I don't know where he would have fit in exactly, but I would say sonically, maybe like doing that that high pitched vocal pitch effect that he did on Igor for his singing. Maybe he could have introduced that on Donda. That would have been cool, because Kanye is also singing in that high register, that high falsetto. So that could have been cool to see. But yeah, honestly, kind of disappointing, because I wanted more from Tyler. But it is what it is. I'm not too disappointed about it.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed either. Like, for the most part, as long as the life of the party got on here,
yes, sir,
I'm absolutely happy. But let's move on to Up From the Ashes, and this is actually supposed to be on 2019 Jesus is King. This was made around that time, and I don't know, it's weird. Like, do you really hear it? Like, do you hear the 2019 Ye presence on this? I feel as if this is maybe more like new. It's maybe has more of a refreshing vibe to it. Like, if this would have been on Jesus is King, I think that it would have been probably a top 3 song of the whole album, at least my opinion.
I think so. But I also do feel like it does fit into that vibe, because like it does have a very gospel feel. It does also in the subject matter, like what he's talking about, these themes of rebirth and whatnot. It kind of would have fit in really well on Jesus King. But the standout for me with Up From the Ashes is actually the production from Timbaland, Jay Wheeler, and Ye himself, because you have these very moody strings and it feels very aquatic. That's the kind of vibe that I get, like I'm underwater. Apart from that, the singing from the Sunday Service Choir on this song is angelic.
Yeah, the verses are fantastic.
Yeah, so it's a very nice addition, and it's cool to see Ye singing about letting go of his pride and also feeling empty and rejuvenated. And also his singing is super sweet here. I like the reverb touches on his vocals. So overall, I was satisfied with this one.
And do you think that it has a place on this track list, especially coming from 2019? How do you feel as if something like Up From the Ashes fits within this new album?
I think it absolutely fits. Okay. I mean, I think, like I said, he's talking about rebirth, which is a big, subject within Donda.
I agree.
I liked it. But do you think it would have fit better on Jesus King? Because I kind of do.
I don't think it maybe fits any of them, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
I think that maybe Jesus is King had too much of a gospel vibe to have like this maybe on the album. Like when I listen to Up From the Ashes, yes, I do hear the gospel elements. Obviously, you have the Sunday Service Choir, but overall, I don't necessarily like feel as if it's solely gospel. Like, let's say, like, you know, something that we've gotten off of Jesus is King. So I don't know. I'm kind of at a middle point with it. Like, it could have dropped, it could have not. But for the most part, I'm happy because I will be bumping it. But let's go on to Remote Control Part 2. I know you fucking hate this song. So how do you feel about the Part 2? Kid Cudi has been added to it. I'm a big fan of this song. But yeah, explain to everyone watching why you're maybe not the biggest
this
song,
is my
fan
least
of this.
favorite song off of Donda. And I mean, of course, Kid Cudi coming in makes it listenable for me. I think he's the best part of the song. And it's cool to see him kind of using this this delivery where he's kind of whispering to a certain degree. I found that was cool. I love the humming. I love the energy he brought onto the track. But apart from that, it plays no role in pushing the narrative forward for me. And the melody for the hook is just so annoying, bro. Like,
Yeah, you're not a fan of it?
I really can't get past it. And it just, like I said, it has nothing to do with the actual narrative of the story. So for me, it's cool to have Cudi on it. It's cool to also have, you know, what's his name? Gobla Glab, whatever, the animated character at the
Yeah.
end. That was pretty jokes. But again, just I didn't need it.
I want to
man.
ask you this. I kind of have a theory behind this song. Since it doesn't necessarily play into the overall vibe or, let's say, track listing, do you think that this was maybe a pop attempt by Kanye?
I think so,
Maybe
maybe.
went a bit wrong, because even at that, like, this is not the best-selling song on the whole album, and like, it's not the most trending by any means. Like, there's people bumping it. Don't get me wrong, like any other Kanye West song, but I don't know. I don't see a
Are
lot
you
of
really bumping it though? Because I know you've kind of defended it here and there, but like,
I've defended
come on,
it
bro.
maybe on the reviews, and I've been maybe more lenient with it because I do enjoy it on the listens. But to talk about how I relate to it and, let's say, the way that it's been able to stick through my rotation, absolutely not. No, like,
right.
I don't think so. But like, now maybe I gained some points because the Part 2 came out, and I'm going to be forced to go back and listen to it for another X amount of weeks. But for the most part, I mean, I don't know. It's not necessarily something I'm too big on. But let's move on to the final change here, and is never abandoned. Second final. And it's Never Abandon Your Family. This was a song that was originally showcased at the first Atlanta listening show. And what was cool about this is that this was low-key the first time that Kanye ever spoke publicly about his divorce. And it was very moving because in the first listening party, you saw him get down on his knees. You saw all the sorrow. And then that also played into the overall progression of how this album was made through the rollouts and all that. And if you guys want more context on the rollouts, the Drink Champs podcast with Kanye just explained more of that. So do you think that this should have been included on the original version?
100%. This is more essential than a lot of songs, I would say, on Donda. And, you know, going back to what you were saying, it was so heart-wrenching to see him, you know, laying on the ground in that empty stadium and, you know, probably crying underneath that mask. Like, it was a really touching and moving moment. And, you know, to hear him singing about him losing his family, it's really hard to listen to. But I would say that this song is genius. I think that the way that the electric guitar is subtly mixed into the production, like the mixing on this song is phenomenal. Not only that, but there's a feeling of, with this song that I picked up on, of Kanye viewing this divorce as kind of a generational failure. Because if you look at the intro of the song, you have Donda giving a speech about the two most important lessons her father taught her, being unconditional love and also to never abandon your family. So with that preface to the song, and then going into how, you know, in reality, Kanye's parents weren't able to stick together and how now he's part of a broken family, it's kind of giving you that sense that there's this generational failure for this, you know, this maintenance of the family. So to see him go this deep and be so upfront about the situation and how it's troubling him was really moving. And also, it's heartbreaking when you hear the dialogue between, you know, assumingly one of his daughter telling him, "No, daddy, I don't want you to leave." Like, it really, you know,
it strikes a chord.
Yeah, it does.
It definitely strikes a chord, and I think that it would have been maybe essential towards the maybe first half to middle part of the album, based on like what we had spoke about in the meaning of Donda. If you guys want access to that video, it's on the channel where we kind of break down the overall flow of the track list. So yeah, going back to this, I think that it would have maybe been really nice there because it would have added like maybe that extra layering of information, you know, behind what Kanye's feeling and behind like maybe the overall direction of the album, because we know that Donda was built upon sorrow. It was built upon a new beginning. It was built upon tearing stuff down and building back up again to have a brighter and better future. So something like Never Abandon Your Family would have been a great context changer for, let's say, the rest of the album. Let's actually get on to the last and final change. Lou, how do you feel that Casey's hook was finally added back? And tell me, like, talk about your emotion when Kanye's verse was added instead on that. Sorry, hook instead of that one.
Well, listen, I mean, I think that, you know, as Kanye fans, we all kind of love Kanye singing. We know that it's not perfect, but we do appreciate it. But this was the right choice for the song. They had it right the first time to have Casey's hook and vocals over the track. So to me, it's a very, integral change. It's very needed. It's necessary, and I do like this version way better than Kanye's chorus over it. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Besides that, the verses from West Side Gun, Call Me the Machine, and Kanye himself do remain the same. So it was kind of just giving us back what we originally had. I guess Kanye realized that people absolutely loved that version. So I was pretty cool with it. But before we get into our final thoughts, how did you like this edition?
I think it was actually needed because I know a lot of fans were actually demanding for this hook to come back because Keep My Spirit Alive has a nice flow to it. Like you want Casey on that hook to be able to have Conway, West Side Gun, and Kanye. Conway, West Side Gun, and Kanye kind of.
Conway.
Yeah, kind of a mouthful. Leave it at that. But I like the chemistry between all four of them. I like the way the song flowed, and I feel as if with Kanye on the hook, it maybe had a bit too much runtime of Kanye material. Like Casey was that nice, like let's say solidifier between all those three verses, and I'm very happy that it's back. But yes, talking about the overall thoughts on this deluxe version, how do you feel about it? Do you feel as if all the changes were made in the right choices, so everything was well calculated? And talk to me about the replay value on this. Like, where are you going back to?
Yeah, look, the replay value is definitely going to be high, just for life of the party. To me, like I said earlier, it's fucking song of the year. To hear Andre 3000 get so deep about him questioning his faith, wondering if there really is gates to heaven, and being so desperate and vulnerable for that sign from above or from, his deceased mother or father, like that was so moving. So that's going to be a highlight of the year and probably of the decade. I think it's one of my favorite Kanye songs of the last 5 years and might end up being one of my favorite Kanye songs of all time. So that was a huge moment for me with this deluxe. Apart from that, Come to Life, Tyler wasn't needed. Other than that, I enjoyed all the changes. I liked Kid Cudi on Remote Control Part 2. I liked bringing Casey back. Overall, though, I do feel like the arrangement was better focused on the first part of Donda. It kind of felt more cohesive for the narrative structure of the project. And I see people saying now that, oh, well, now it feels like a playlist. But already Donda was bloated. Already it didn't have that super cohesive feel. So at this point, you can't take it as him reworking the album. You have to kind of accept it as him adding songs that he wanted to share that were part of the whole Donda process. So overall, as always, Kanye did his thing. He gave us some great music, and I'm satisfied.
I'm very happy you listened to the fans. I think that that's maybe the biggest part about all of this for me, especially giving back the Casey hook, like giving us life for the party, like that. He knew that that was on such big demand, and he had said it on Drink Champ, saying like that song was song of the year, and it didn't even drop.
Yeah.
So I think that was some cool let's say foreshadowing, and this is probably the end of the Donda experience as far as rollout goes for the album because it usually ends on the deluxe
until the tour comes.
Until the tour comes. So when is the tour coming? We don't know. But besides that, I'm not a fan of the overall track listing now. It's just obviously it was better on the first one, but this is going to be a cool experience because now like I'm gonna have to go in more with like an individual mindset rather than listening to maybe the album on a cohesive note, right? Like you're gonna go to different songs and maybe hear them in different order. Your gauge is gonna change with the listening to them. So I'm keeping that in mind while I go through it. Kid Cudi on Remote Control, that was a W. I think that automatically adds more replay value to that song for me. I'm gonna end up going back to it. And Up From the Ashes was definitely a nice addition, but as I said, wasn't necessarily needed on this track list and maybe wasn't even needed on Jesus is King. So overall, yeah, I think that Ye did his thing. I'm very happy to listen to the fans, and overall, I'm going to have a good time with this. I'm definitely going to go back.
Wait, would you give this a rating at all?
But no, it's too lackluster. Like I think that it's just upgrades, right? Like you don't want to necessarily like only judge the upgrades on it. Like plus, like what are you really gonna do for ratings? You're gonna do it on Life of the Party and Up From the Ashes. Like you could speak on those songs individually, but I feel as if in order to maybe have like a full rating for a deluxe album, it would have to be a completely different side to the album.
That's true.
Maybe like another 12 songs back and forth, and then you have to see how that cohesively plays into the
overall,
original.
it doesn't change my my views on the album.
No,
I still think
not.
it's a fantastic project.
Yeah, and we ended up giving it an amazing rating, guys. If you want to go see our original album review that dropped back in August, that will be on the channel. Not only that, but please subscribe if you have not already, because we're doing a load of Kanye content on the channel right now. Plus, we're doing all kinds of different album reviews. We're doing all kinds of different series. So, example, this week we're dropping Free Smoke, where Lou and I kind of get debated and heated and whatnot. So, if you guys want to see all that, it's all on the channel. Not only that, but if you are a Kanye fan and you want us to reach more Kanye fans, smash the like button. It helps us out so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching this review, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching the video. It's always a pleasure doing content for you guys. Listen, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because we're doing album reviews, and we actually have our series called Everything We Know, where we take you guys through the whole album rollout of the hottest releases of the year. Not only that, guys, but our Patreon plan is now live. You guys can access that in the bio. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.